you guys. Happy hour is from 4 to 6.
Miss Kennedy, would you get me a medium dry vodka martini?
What is
Shaken, not stirred.
Hold on. I'm not hearing it right. Hold on. We got it now.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
Hello, everyone. I apologize for the delay. I was doing an elopement shoot, not my own elopement, someone else, and that's why I'm running late. And also, if you are following me on Instagram, I have been promoting my wedding film business, and I think some of you think I'm getting married, and that's not what it is. So, not yet, not getting married yet. That's just my company that I'm cross promoting onto the Nerd Femme Girl Instagram, if because you never know who needs to have a wedding film made when they are getting married. So without further ado, I know I'm late. Dell will be on any moment, so that's gonna be fantastic. I'm so excited to have him on finally. And I feel like there's not a lot of time for me to talk, but I just wanted to bring up really quick to anyone in the chat that is here. If you haven't seen Thanksgiving and you were on the fence, it's really good. Surprisingly, really, really good. And Eli Roth did a fantastic job, and it's much more sophisticated than it needed to be. And it's not like a, B horror film by all means. Like, yeah, it has those elements for sure. And it has those like wink, wink, like parts of dialogue. But as a whole, the concept is really, really good and really smart. So I hope you check it out if we're on the fence, because I highly recommend it. We have Fans of Something. Hello, Fans of Something. I think I saw later on you had to go to work, Eddie, but thanks so much for stopping by. Enjoyed an iced gingerbread oat milk chai from Starbucks and watching. Nothing alcoholic, but still something. Oh, hell yes. Actually, that sounds delicious. I love oat milk and I love chais, and I have not tried that yet. So I will absolutely have to. And also, if I look like it's raining out, so thank you. Thankfully, the venue was not outside, but getting from point A to point B, it was raining, so I kind of look like a drowned rat. My apologies. But neither here nor there. It's a rainy day in the city. Emmett. Hey, Emmett. Thanks for joining. Can't believe my buddy Dell is going to be here. Yes, we are so excited to have him, Emmett. I'm very excited. Holland, thanks so much for stopping by. Maxfield, he is at work, but he is always trying to catch what he can of these. That's for sure. Everyone's saying hi. So yes, I'm glad he wrote this because I was finishing up a shoot and that's why I was late. So, but thank you so much for hanging in there. This is what I was referring to. I know you had to go back to work, but that's totally cool. And I hope work goes smoothly for you. I feel like it's kind of redundant for me to play the intro again, but I feel like I have to. So, and it's a shorter intro. I always do a long intro at the beginning of the live stream, then a really short, concise one, just to, get everyone pumped for our guest. So I'm going to do that because Dell's here, and we'll get the show on the road.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so happy you're here. And I just wanted to point out to anyone in the chat that didn't know this is a congratulations on 400 subscribers. That's great.
I appreciate it. Thanks to all my 400 and 404.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, and Dell's the link to his channel is in the description down below. I feel like I might need to fix I don't know if it's clickable because I tried it and it seemed like it might just be the name. Either way, I will absolutely fix that as soon as possible. So happy to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm gonna mute myself for a minute because I got somebody knocking at my door. So hang
Oh,
on.
sure. Absolutely. Not an issue. I'll go through some of these while you're muted, and then I'll have you introduce yourself and your channel. Sure. He'll be right back. So I'm just going to go through some of the chat really quick. Oh my goodness, Draculina Horror. Hello. She was on our spooky season happy hour. That was fantastic. Can't wait to get her on solo. She's fantastic. Check out her channel. And I always say this, everyone in the chat has great channels, so check them out. And she has some great stuff on Instagram too. So Dementian Scott, hello. Yes, it is almost time for Thanksgiving. We have 2 days, day after tomorrow. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Are you unmuted yet, Dell?
I am unmuted. I'm ready to go.
Excellent. Do you want to tell everyone in the chat that doesn't know who you are and whoever's watching or on the replay a little bit about you and your channel?
Sure, Dell on movies, pretty simple. And on my channel, I like to say I talk a lot more about movies than collecting, but I do talk some collecting. We do some hauls and some stuff like that. But the bulk of my channel is about movies. We have the movie swap where myself and another person really we give each other a movie that the other person hasn't seen, and then we discuss them. See if did you like what I showed you, or did I like what they showed me? We also have movie theater memories where I just talk about my experiences in movie theaters with some of my more memorable experiences in movie theaters. Then we also do some recommendation videos. We do some top 10s and list videos and whatever else just strikes my fancy.
Well, I have to tell you, I think that the movie swap concept that you came up with is like absolutely genius because I feel like we all have times where we want like friends of ours to watch a movie and we'll recommend it, or even we get recommendations and then we kind of say like, oh yeah, we'll check it out. And then it like years go by and we still haven't watched it. And this kind of like forces your friends to like check out these movies, within a time frame. And I think that that's just great.
Oh, absolutely. And that's kind of the reason behind it, man. I want to watch movies. I want to watch movies I've never seen before, but I want to talk to somebody about them. It's no fun just watching them in a vacuum.
Yeah, and I think, we all have like such a strong love of movies that I think it feels like such a gift in a way to share something that we love that someone else hasn't seen.
Oh, completely agree. Completely agree. And if you're like me, you got hundreds of movies just sitting on a shelf that you haven't even seen yet. And hey, maybe somebody might point one of those out. I'm like, oh, I got that one. And then I'll watch that one. But yeah, just sharing movies is why we're all here, right?
Yes, absolutely. So speaking of your movie swap, one of the questions I've always wanted to ask you was, I mean, you've done so many at this point. What was like a specific film that someone introduced to you that you just like absolutely loved or it had a huge impact on you?
I would say the best movie, and it was an impactful one that I've come across, is really a recent one, The All Quiet on the Western Front, that came out, I think, 2022. And that was just an amazing movie. It was one of those movies where I was like, I know it's an old one, I know it's a war one, and I'm gonna get to it eventually, but I wasn't in any hurry. And then I had Sue from Movies and Sue. She was on, and she recommended that one. And that one was the best movie that I've seen on Movie Swap, and just the way they had to deal with what they were dealing with going through World War I, and on their end of it, it's about German soldiers. If you didn't know, if anyone doesn't know out there, and you're really looking at it from this point of view of the low end soldiers, the soldiers on the front lines, and you get their occasional interactions with the people up top, and you see how disillusioned they become, and you go through it. And being actually a veteran also, though I didn't go to war, but being a veteran, I could relate to that.
It was such a gorgeous film, and the
Yes.
ending is so I mean, it kind of makes y it puts things into perspective of, what war really is and who's in charge and whose lives are being taken, and, I mean, my goodness, and, like, I don't wanna spoil it, but I'll just say something happens that didn't necessarily need to happen because of just timing and not getting a message fast
Oh,
enough.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
just destroyed me. I was like, "Oh my god," like, that's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts when it comes to that. So, but yeah, what a powerful, powerful film, and the cinematography is just gorgeous.
Oh, it is, and I watched it on Netflix, and it was gorgeous on Netflix, and so I'm gonna be grabbing that 4K soon, so because it's
Yeah.
a good movie.
That's how I watched it too, because I think so I always force myself to watch all the Best Picture nominations, before the Oscars, and that was on there, so and that was towards the end of my list too, because I was kind of like you, like, "Well, I know it's a war movie and it'll be fine, and I'm sure it's great, but, like, am I really in the mood?" Because sometimes you have to be really in the mood for a war film, and I
Mhm.
love them, but it's, like, very specific timing, I feel like, but it's kind of in that way of, like kind of like with your movie swap, because I force myself to watch all the Best Picture nominations before the Oscars, it kind of forces me to watch them as well. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I always watch all the Best Picture nominations, but I don't try to get them in. I try to get them in before Oscars, but I don't force myself to get it in, get them in before the Oscars, which is how All Quiet on Western Front slipped through.
totally, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna get to the chat briefly, and then we'll keep having our fantastic conversation because I'm so happy you're here. Let's see. Breaking news: our main lead for Scream 5 and 6 has been fired from Scream 7. Your thoughts? Is that
Ooh.
Jenna Ortega? Was
Is it
she?
Jenna Ortega or is it the sister? Because I don't know which
Mm.
one you're calling the main the main lead.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. I have not heard that news. If anyone else in the chat can elaborate, or if Dimension Scott wants to elaborate, that would be great because I didn't hear this yet. Luke Ponto, how's it going? I'm actually might be seeing the holdovers on Friday since a theater 45 minutes away from me is playing it. That's great. I was just telling Luke, well, I saw the holdovers a couple weeks ago, but he was telling me that he couldn't find it in like any theaters, even ones that were like an hour away, that were ones that he could normally count on to see more like indie films. And he was really upset. So I get this is good news. Did you see that film, or do you have any plans on seeing it?
I do want to see it, and I'm not sure if it's playing in theaters around me because I hadn't really checked. And I go to the theaters. I try to go every couple of weeks or so, but I with I try to save it for the bigger films, the ones that I
Yeah.
really require the big screen. So something like that, I might be like, you know what, it'll be fine if I catch it streaming later on.
Absolutely. That's movies like that you don't have to see in theaters. I will say, when I watched the trailer for it, I thought like, oh, I love Paul Giamatti. He
Yeah.
worked so well with Alexander Payne in Size, but the trailer didn't necessarily like blow me away or anything. The movie is so much better than the trailer. So I just wanted to throw that out, everyone.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. Wilkie's Movies and Music. Thanks so much for stopping by.
What's up, Corey?
Okay, oh yes, we I have pulled this one up first. Yes, huge congratulations again. Um, Max says pumped AF for Dell. We have been blessed today. Yes, we have.
Well, thank you. I feel special now.
Yes. Wilkie's Movies and Music says, "Hey Dell, um, what are you two doing for Thanksgiving and Christmas? I just love Christmas, the most wonderful holiday for me. End of the year as well." And Emmett had mentioned earlier in the chat that he was very excited that you were going to be the guest today. Do you have any plans for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing I do every year. I'm gonna go over my sister's house, and it's gonna be her, I, and my other two brothers, and we're gonna stuff our faces and talk crazy to one another, and try to drive
Yeah.
home without falling asleep.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad this was brought up for Thanksgiving because some people have, I don't know if I necessarily even have something like this specifically, but are there any movies that you watch every year or movies you like to watch on Thanksgiving?
Not for not for Thanksgiving, but to give you a little insight, a little more insight is one thing we do is we'll play a family Jeopardy game, and I get to be the Alex Trebek. I make up the game every year, and
Wow.
we have a big we play Jeopardy. The categories are usually things that pertain to us, so we have big fun with it. I'm not trying to stump anybody. About the most is we'll have the older folks, which is my siblings and myself, against the younger generation, which are our kids. And that's
Oh,
fun.
that's so great. So you have like a pretty large gathering, I'm assuming?
It's not super large. I mean, it's maybe 10, it's maybe 15 of us there usually.
Oh, that's a great size. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, and to answer your question on Emmett on my end, just Max and my boyfriend Max, my boyfriend is my boyfriend. I just said Max and my boyfriend. Max and I will be going to my mom's for Thanksgiving. So we'll be hanging out with her because he usually goes home to Pittsburgh to see his mom for Christmas. So Scottish Geek Guy, hello, hello. Thanks for joining us today. Batman Collectibles 2. Oh, yeah. Are you do you collect a lot of Batman stuff, Dale? Or is that not pertaining to you?
Can you hear me,
Oh,
Tracy?
yes. Now I can. Yep. Can you hear me? I don't know if he can hear me. Let's see. Can you hear both of us in the chat? You can hear me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you can't hear me, right? Let me see here. Let's see. I'm gonna mute and is that better, Dale? Can you hear me now?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me though? You can't hear me. Okay. See, the chat can hear us both. I'm gonna have to like write the questions. We'll have to communicate by typing. Let's see here. I don't know how to.
They say they can hear us both, but I can't hear you. This is weird.
Yeah. Let's see. If I remove, hang on. Here, I know what I'll do. Here. I think Dell's going to come back. So Dell's going to come back, and then we'll get back to that. I'll get back to the chat in the meantime. And I'll start this because I think this was for Dell, the Batman collectibles. Let's see here. I was a guest on Dell's channel and had fun. Congrats, Dell, on subscribers. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, his channel is really enjoyable to watch. Someone randomly picked off of you to watch. Batman Collectibles 2 or someone. I'm going to start this as well. Maybe Dell knows what he's talking about. I've not seen All Quiet on the Western Front. Oh, here we are. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, no. Are maybe the sound settings? Let's see. For the speaker, maybe it's switched to the wrong. Here, I'm gonna message him really quick.
Okay, I can hear you now, Tracy.
Oh, you can?
Hear me?
Cool.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
let me. I see. It wouldn't be me on the show if something dumb didn't happen.
Oh.
So I knocked out my mic, and when I plugged it back in, my laptop decided to make my mic the mic and the speaker. So then I had to figure that out. But I'm back here. Okay.
Perfect. So I think this was for you, but I'm not positive. But Caveman Movies and More said Batman Collectibles 2. And then he also said, or someone randomly picked off of you to watch. So I'm not really sure what that means, but do you collect
I'm not
Batman
100%
stuff?
sure. I do have lots of Batman stuff. I'm not huge on collectible items like, a lot of guys have statues and action figures and things like that. I'm not that guy. I've got so many Batman movies, so many movies he's appeared in, as far as the live action ones, of course, and then most of the animated ones, and a lot of the TV shows that he was in. So I've got that, and I've got several Batman shirts. So if you want to call those collectibles, I guess we can. And as far as a movie someone picked off of me, I'm not sure what exactly that means. But if he's saying a movie that I enjoyed or wanted most to talk about with someone else, when I had Bob on Bob's Blu-rays, I had him watch my favorite movie of all time, which is Do the Right Thing. And then recently, of course, this past spooky season, having KB finally see Candyman.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah. So I've always noticed that your copy of Do the Right Thing is a special box. What is specifically that version of it?
That's the Criterion Blu-ray that came out a
Okay.
few years before the 4K. It's a great set. It's got a huge booklet inside, and it looks really good. I haven't seen the 4K, but I haven't upgraded to it because I think that Blu-ray it looks really good.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh, and if we are gonna, I'm sure this is hard to answer. Do you have a favorite Batman?
As far as actors,
Yeah, I guess, or yeah.
I'm a Christian Bale guy. As
Nice.
far as my favorite one, yeah, he's my favorite one. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, he did a great job. David is here. Hello, everyone. Hello, David. Dimension Scott said it's Melissa Barrera.
Oh, the one that plays the sister, I believe.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
So wow, that's interesting because I don't know how they're gonna. Well, I guess they're gonna sell the story with just Jenna Ortega going forward, as we're gonna say something happened to the sister, or the sister went off somewhere, kind of like they did with Sydney in the last one, maybe.
Yeah. I'm always hoping that Sydney will come back in like as a surprise.
I'm fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I hope so too.
Yeah. And I was kind of disappointed that the last one was supposed to be filmed. Like the whole marketing was like, this time it's in New York. And then I found out they didn't film any of it in New York. They filmed it somewhere else.
Yeah. Remember we talked about that last week. Yeah. A lot of movies have some other city double for New York.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, here we go. I guess I'll stick on if people are asking Batman questions, I'll just stick with that because we're kind of on that. What made you fall in love with the 1989 Batman film, and why is it your favorite?
The hype was just so serious, so real, so big for that movie. And starting from 1988, you got to remember this movie didn't come out till June of 89. So it was like really a whole year of just Batman. And I grew up on Adam West Batman, so I was already into the character. Or I used to watch that every day when I come home from school. But I was getting older, and it was to that point where, you know what? I keep hearing there was a more serious version of Batman. Let me see this one. And then with Tim Burton on board, that's what it promised to be. You know, the trailer looked like it. So by the time it rolled around, I was just so hyped to see it. So after I saw it, great fun, had a blast watching it. And I hate to disappoint Emmett, but it's not my favorite. The Dark Knight is my favorite, though.
Very cool. Yeah. So, do you think, I'm sure you've seen the Robert Pattinson one for the sequel? Like, what do you think? What would be like your ideal like next villain to introduce? Because I don't think anything has been confirmed as far as I know. I know like rumors have been like Mr. Freeze and things like that, but I don't know if there's anything confirmed yet.
Yeah, it's tough because I try not to get into who I want to see next, and I know all signs that I've seen. Everything's pointing to another Joker,
right?
And I always love the Joker, but I don't necessarily need another movie with the Joker in it.
No, I agree.
Right, but with Batman, you gotta, in the world that they're building, you want to pick somebody who is going to work in a real world setting. And Mr. Freeze might be a little tough to sell in a real world setting. I mean, it can be done,
right?
But it's gonna have to be like right on it. Maybe just since it is a sequel, expanding the Penguin role, but I know he's getting a series, so I don't know how much they're gonna do with that. And we already got the Riddler, and of course, there's always the chance that the Catwoman turns heel.
Right.
And then as far as other villains, I'm just kind of curious to see what they do.
Yeah, me too. And I'm 100% with you. I do not need to see another Joker introduced anytime soon. And I love I love the Joaquin Phoenix interpretation. And I love that that's kind of its own thing. But I feel like after the Heath Ledger one and the Jared Leto one and the Joaquin Phoenix one, I was seeing Barry Keoghan at the end of the Robert Pattinson one. I kind of was just like, oh, can't we do something else?
Do something, right?
Yeah. I know he's a great villain, but like, come on, let's give us a break for a moment.
Safe box office.
I know. That's very true. Very true. And we're seeing a lot of decisions being made based off of that. I feel like a lot. I saw that they're just announced a Frozen 4. So they're doing a Frozen 3 and 4. And then they're going to be doing a Toy Story. I know the one they're working on was already announced, but they just announced there's like 2 more Toy Story movies. And it's like, okay, well.
Wow.
Yes, they know what, at least if they lose money on other projects, I guess they're going to bank on those. I just hope they don't run them into the ground.
Yeah, and you run that chance that at some point. I'm a person. I actually love Toy Story 4, so I didn't mind that there was a 4th one.
I liked it.
Yeah, even when they announced it, I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm ready. I'm ready to see another. I'm curious what they see." But yeah, at some point, it's like, "Okay, guys, just can we think of something new? Let's leave Woody, let's leave Buzz, leave the whole crew alone, and let's do something new, do something different."
I feel like they're going to show Andy in a senior citizen home at some point.
Wow! Yeah, really? Yeah, he might. He might. They might. And Woody and Buzz and the gang has got to go in there and remind him of his childhood or something.
Oh my goodness. Max Burton's Batman 89. Yep, that's his favorite, I believe. I think it's because he loves the Michael Keaton one a lot.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. To see him in Quesada's new comic book is True Nirvana. I don't know what that means, but maybe you do, Del.
Not, I'm guessing that's who's either drawing the comic book right now or writing the comic book right now. I'm assuming it's one of the two, but I haven't read a comic book in probably 25, 30 years. So I couldn't really say.
No, totally. Yeah. Are they trying to kill the Scream franchise? I mean, really? I mean, I liked the last one, but I didn't overly love it. It was fun, but I feel like I saw Thanksgiving actually, and I felt that was kind of becoming the new Scream. It kind of was a refreshing interpretation of a slasher movie, and it was actually much better than it would appear. So
okay, I'm gonna try to sneak out to see that sometime this week. So
you'll have fun.
Looking forward to it.
Let's see. Plus all the heat Michael Keaton got. Did he?
He got plenty of heat. Oh yeah, before the movie came out, there's a story out there that when he was announced that the studio actually got something like 40,000, 50,000 handwritten letters. This was back before the internet, so people actually wrote letters and sent them into Warner Brothers, sent them into DC, like Michael Keaton, Mr. Mom, Beetlejuice. That's not Batman. We don't want him. We need somebody else. And when the movie came out, everybody was kind of like, oh, okay, I see what they were going for.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's such a great actor. I could see people underestimating his talent and capability.
Yeah, and especially back then. I mean, that's all he was really known for was either Mr. Mom or Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice hadn't long been out. Those were his only big movies at the time.
It's kind of like when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker. There was such a backlash on that initially.
Yeah. And it's, if you always listen to the fans, you're bound to make bad choices. So, yeah.
Yes, it's like this happy medium of listening, but not too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You want to please the fans. I get it, and you want them to come see your movie. But if you listen to everything and try to try to acquiesce to every demand that they have, you're just gonna have a mess of a movie. And that's, we saw that. We'll see it in a lot of movies, but we saw it come to light really with the Disney Star Wars movies. It was, they made a movie and then they listened to all the little backlash, and so they changed the second movie, and then they did it again with the third movie, and nobody was happy in the end. Let you have artists, let them create the art and see what happens.
Absolutely. Fresh ingredient. I don't know if I've seen you on here before, so thank you so much for joining us today. And howdy. Hard Copy Blues, Vin. He was my guest last week. If you saw that in the chat, it was a great conversation. I'd be interested in seeing Barry Keoghan do the Joker. I love that actor. Yeah, like I don't think he's a bad casting choice. I just could maybe do like it for the third one and maybe not just jump into it right away.
Yeah, that's where I am. It's like, let's Batman's got plenty of characters. Let's get some of those other villains in there, and before we get another Joker. Yeah.
Yes, and Vin, I don't know if you're planning on seeing it, but I'm seeing Saltburn on Sunday, and that has not Michael Keaton, Barry Keoghan in that. So I'm very excited to see that film. Let's see, Joker's overused. Yes, I think we kind of agree. There's just other choices. Toy Story with adult Andy tracking down his old toys. Yeah. Yeah. The opposite. No. Can we get an Atlantis live action? That's what I really want from Disney. That's an interesting thought, actually.
That is, but I could see that costing $1 dollars to make, though.
That's true. That would require so much CGI.
I mean, yeah, it would basically be like Aquaman or Avatar if you wanted to spend the money on it and really go all the way. I don't know if Disney wants to do that.
Did you see the new, speaking of Aquaman, did you see the new, it just came out yesterday, the day before?
The new trailer? Yeah, I did see it. I don't know. I was kind of half paying attention to it because I'm not a big trailer person. I think they give too much away. And I like to go in the movie cold as I can. And okay, for me, just saying, okay, Aquaman 2, that's enough for me. I'm going to be there.
Right.
Once I start watching the trailer, then so much of the story is given away. So I was kind of half paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, I will say if I had to compare the two, I think that the most recent one was a lot better than the first trailer. So it made me a lot more, interested. It was like, obviously I'm going to see it regardless, but just comparing like the first one that we got like months and months ago, the one that I've seen every time I've been to the movie theater, they always show it. And then this brand new one, this was much more contained and it was a lot more powerful. So that was good.
Okay. Yeah, the last one I saw, the one you're talking about, I see at the theaters. I've seen that at the theaters. I don't know, 5-6 times this year.
Toy Story Big Lots Revenge.
That would be funny. Yeah, Big Lotto. I think he's talking about the bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best villain for me.
Oh yeah, the bear. Yeah, that was. Oof. Yeah, that was rough. Scary for a stuffed animal.
Yes.
What's up, everyone? Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button. Thank you so much, Cody.
What's up, Cody?
Cody just did a great video on he opened up the 100-year celebration Disney box set, which was massive, and I didn't even know those came out. But so I think it was really cool to see, because you're not going to really see. I don't think I've seen any other YouTubers really do a whole look into them, unless I missed them. But I thought it was a great video.
Is that the $1,500 box set? Is that one?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that video out. I haven't seen it yet. No way I'm buying it, so I'm gonna have to live vicariously through Cody.
Yes. Same. Holland, hello. I know you've been here. Everyone's saying hi. Michael Keaton's Batman isn't perfect, especially his Bruce Wayne. That's always like
I would agree.
the thing too. It's always like your favorite Batman and then your favorite Bruce Wayne. I feel like that's because they're, some play with both perfectly, and then
Right.
some have a preference of the, different ones.
Yeah, yeah. It's that way with a lot of superheroes because you can do the same thing with Superman, with Spider-Man.
Right.
It's not until recently with a lot of the MCU characters till where we say, okay, it's just that guy. Like Tony Stark is Iron Man, and there's no really need to differentiate the performances from one version of the character to the other. But with older superheroes, especially, it's always that way. It's how do you play the regular person, and then how do you play the superhero part?
Right. And you do have to pull that off. And I think people also have those thoughts when it's regarding like Superman and Clark Kent as well.
Yes,
Playing
yes,
both personalities.
yeah. So for me, it's always Christopher Reeve when we talk Superman because he was perfect at both.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
Cavill, you know.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Superman's going to pan out with James Gunn's new film. So I know they just
Yeah,
announced Lex
I'm curious.
Luthor. Nicholas Hoult, I believe, is going to be Lex Luthor.
I'm I don't know. I'm not big on that casting
Yeah,
decision.
me either. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Nicholas Hoult. I just don't see him as Lex Luthor, and it doesn't help that the last Lex Luthor I just hated so much. And Jesse Eisenberg is another actor. I actually like Jesse Eisenberg. He's fine, but as Lex Luthor, it was just a disaster.
Miscast. Yeah.
Badly.
My favorite Lex Luthor is Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, he did a
I'm
great job.
actually, people are gonna hate me for this, but I actually like Kevin Spacey best from
Mm,
Superman Returns.
that
I
doesn't
thought he was
bother
a
me.
great Lex Luthor.
I'm a big Kevin Spacey
Ye-
fan in general. So um,
Okay, okay. I know his name is his mud now, so I know people. Oh, you can't say anything good about Kevin Spacey now. So
no. Yeah, I love his films. So,
yeah, he's
moving
got some
today.
good.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Britt and I saw Thanksgiving and had fun. It didn't pretend to be something it's not. I agree, and I think that the whole concept, and this is not a spoiler, Dell, but the whole concept of Black Friday and how people turn into monsters themselves, I think it's in the trailer. This just takes place around Black
Yeah, it
Friday
is.
and how the chaos and we've seen so many horrific events happen for years and years and years because of consumerism and just people going crazy when it's like, oh, is this supposed to be a holiday about being thankful for what we have?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
So go out and buy more.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we're all guilty. I mean, how many collectors, how many of us on YouTube have Black Friday hauls that we've done and we do every year, make videos about. So we're all guilty, but it's ridiculous in some instances.
Yes. It can get out of control.
Yeah.
I do want to see Saltburn. Yes, I'm very excited. Then we will have to talk about it once you see it, because I'll definitely be seeing it Sunday. Prom L, thanks so much for stopping by. Hand pink waving. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe I'm just too old.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what that one is either.
Hisham NCT. Hello, guys. Do you have very bad experience in movie theaters? For example, audience scream, throwing popcorn, smoking, texting, talking, recording, or anything? Do you have any that you've experienced?
Any really bad? Uh, I've seen a fight in a movie theater break out one time. That and not very far from me. This was years ago. But yeah, a fight broke out pretty much right in front of me at a movie theater. That might be the worst. Um, Other than that, we had a couple of times where there were some technical difficulties, and I'm kind of lenient on the talking part because I try to block as much of that out as I can. And not for nothing, my wife will talk to me during the movie, so sometimes we're the guilty parties, but we low as possible because she likes to ask questions during movies. Uh, so other than that fight, I can't say I've had anything really super bad. Not that's coming to mind. Anything.
Yeah, mine haven't been too bad. I feel like the only one thing I experienced recently was when I saw Strays. There was a woman sitting in front of me to the right, like she wasn't like super super close, but it wasn't the largest theater either, and she was on the phone
Mm.
telling the person that was meeting her where she was, and the movie had already started, and it was like going on and on and on and on and on, and I was like, "Oh my god, like how are you doing this right now?" Just full on
Yeah,
conversation like, "Oh
yeah.
no, I'm gonna be in the first row, I'm on the right." I'm like, "They're not even here, just like let them find you." Oh my
Oh,
god.
you know what? Now that you mention that, actually, when I went to see The Exorcist Believer, uh, a bunch of teenagers came in, and they're sitting all the way at the top of the theater in the back, but I don't know what they were doing or why they were doing, I should say, but they're like running up and down the stairs just while the movie had just after the movie had started, they went all the way up to their seats and then they ran a bunch of them. It was like 8 of them. They ran down the stairs out the theater. Then they come back in and then run up and then the movie started and they're like chuckling at everything for no reason whatsoever. And then they all run out. And I think a fellow patron finally got fed up and went and got someone and kicked them out.
Oh my god. It was a big Saturday night or whatever for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Aloha. Hi, Mega Mike the Movie Man. How are you doing?
What's up,
Uh,
Mike?
yeah. You guys hear about the next Jonathan Majors movie, Magazine Dreams, getting stealthily removed from its December 8th, 2003 theatrical release. I mean, I think that once things are actually set in stone because his court date keeps getting pushed back, I think people are just going to put things on pause for a bit until that happens. Because
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's in a holding pattern, waiting to see is he going to be proven guilty or innocent. And I get it. Uh, they're going to decide whether they're going to put things out in the box office and take a hit or get that tax write off after they don't show it.
right.
And it's all business decisions, and they're just kind of waiting and seeing. The most interesting thing to me is what is Marvel going to do going forward because he's pretty much ingrained in that universe. The other things are kind of one-off things.
Yes, big time. I mean, that he was the crux of everything. So it's
Right.
going to be interesting to see. Late to culture, Michael Rosenbaum. I'm glad you are also a Michael Rosenbaum fan as Lex Luthor. Thanks for stopping by late to culture. I'm not sure if I've ever seen you in here before, so very nice of you to chime in. I'm sad we will never get to see Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton as the old Batman, thanks to the failure of The Flash. I mean, I wouldn't say never. I mean, probably not, but
Yeah, that's where I would lean. Probably not, but it's still a possibility because you know, Michael Keaton can be bought back for enough money. Let's face it. Let's be honest, right?
yeah.
If the powers that be at DC want to do that or not. And honestly, I don't think it's because of the failure of the Flash. Well, that might be the last straw. I think that is just the piling up of failures over the years and never really getting that cohesive universe the way that Marvel has, which is what they've been trying to do this whole time. And it's just not working for them. So like I said, the Flash was finally the final straw. It started maybe back as Wonder Woman 84, maybe even further back than that. In the middle of that, you had Black Adam didn't do very well. Batman v Superman, it made money, but it was not, at least not to me, not a good movie. And most critics will say that it's not a
Yeah.
good movie. And even Aquaman, which made a bunch of money also, it's like, but people are kind of lukewarm on it. Nobody's like, oh, Aquaman is my favorite movie. It's so they just never gotten the same momentum that that Marvel had and never quite put it all together.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't necessarily think it has to do with the failure of the Flash either, because I feel like the fact that the Batgirl movie was a huge sign, and then they did have to. The whole reason they chose George Clooney to come in at the end was also because of the direction the whole studio was going. And I don't even know if they really knew what they were doing at that time, but I felt like they felt it gave them options at least. Whereas to use Michael Keaton at the end. would kind of pigeonhole them a little bit. So
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah, I'm going to be curious to see what they do going forward. And at some point, though, they've got to stop being reactionary to Marvel. It's like, okay, we're not
Mm,
Marvel. Let's just
yeah.
do what works for us. Let's do, if that's making a cohesive universe, okay, fine. If it's making a bunch of standalone films, then let's do that. You don't have to have a universe or this massive universe spanning multiple films for people to go see your movies. I mean, if you just want to put all the Batman movies in one universe and all the Superman in another and Flash in another, so on and so forth, then do that. If it works, people will be there. If you make good movies, if you make bad movies, it doesn't matter how big your universe is or how many Easter eggs you put in. People are not going to want to see that.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. KB, hi. Hey, Tracy, party people. Had to hop in here to support my brother Dell. I'm so
What's
happy
going on?
you're here. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. KB is my guy. He knows that.
Yeah, I'm glad you got him to watch Candyman.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a big moment in movie swap history, getting KB to watch Candyman finally, and he enjoyed it. So that was even better. He actually liked the movie.
Now, did you see the sequel that Nia DaCosta did?
Yes, I did see that. I did see that. I enjoyed that movie. I think she took some chances with it, and there was some studio interference. You can tell in a few parts where it didn't quite land as much as what she was doing, and she was more focused on the social commentary, which I really enjoyed about the movie because it's a story that's ripe for it, and it looks smooth. It's a great looking movie. She's a
It's
good
gorgeous.
storyteller. Yeah, yeah, and it's weird though now because when you juxtapose it with the Marvels, which she just did, and she's like her name's on it, but she's not in it. She
Yeah.
her vision, her style, it's really not there. It just looks like it's just any other generic Marvel product that and she could do so much more.
I'm so glad you said that because I know everyone in the chat if they've seen I could not stand the Marvels film, and I did say that though that I felt like it did not represent Nia DaCosta's directing at all, and I really do feel like it's maybe it's strange to be like, oh, watch the Candyman sequel to really get it, but I felt there was such innovative filmmaking as far as the direction went, and I agree with you. There was probably some studio interference when it came to certain things, and I know not everyone's a fan of the film. I didn't get like over the top rave reviews, but it also was like I would say. So yeah, it's a huge difference.
Yeah, you can see that she is a very capable storyteller, and that's one of the problems with the working with the big studios in general, but working with Marvel and DC in particular. They're trying to get so much of what they want for the next movie into each movie that the director can sometimes get lost in the shuffle. And with Marvel, especially, but they're making a big deal about bringing in name directors and people who are up and comers, but they don't let them direct. It's like, okay, here you can say action and cut, but this is what we're gonna do. And that's got to be frustrating for them. And I know she's been frustrated by the process, and other directors have expressed the same thing. And even like a Chloe Zhao who did the Eternals. I mean,
Yeah.
there's only so much that those studios allow you to do. Whereas, at least with a property like Candyman, she wasn't trying to fit it into this larger universe, so they let her do as much as they could. But of course, they had certain things they wanted to get butts and seats. You got to have so many kills or so many action scenes or do some things. But largely, it was her movie.
I completely agree with you there. Uh, Real quick, I'm calling over here for a Batman Beyond someday. We've got. Oh, this is, I guess, they had an issue in the movie theater. I had an issue with a guy bring his children no older than 7 to an R-rated movie with sex scenes. Yeah, that can be strange.
Mhm.
I'll tell you, Dell, when I saw Saw 10, There was an 8-year-old like next to me that was just like loving it, and I couldn't believe it because that movie gets really in. I mean, all some movies are gory. This one, I was like, just I kept looking at him to see what his reactions were. And he was just eating his popcorn, chilling, and I was like, is this generation just immune to everything? Like they're so desensitized, they don't care about this girl cutting her leg off.
Yeah, it's different. It depends on the parents and what they let their kids watch. And I'm with you. I'm When my kids were that young, they weren't watching horror movies. I When they were around 12, 13, I kind of let them start watching some horror movies. And even then it was not like, super duper gory stuff. And till they got
Yeah,
even a
like
little older than that. But there's some families out there, they let their kids watch that stuff really young. I'm Years ago, I used to work at Blockbuster, and I remember a guy used to come in and get horror movies like almost every day. He would come in and he'd have his son with him a lot. And his son was like 7. And he was like, yeah, he usually picks out most of the movies and we watch them all together. And he's been doing that since he was 5. And I was like blown away by that. So different strokes for different folks, I guess, but not a decision I would make.
right. No, me either. Uh, a guy sitting next to me and his sister while watching Scream 5 talking almost the whole time. I'm like, please be quiet. Yeah, that can be if it's the whole time, that can be a little difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
Britt figured the killer out in Thanksgiving really quickly. I'm always fooled. I'm not clever. How are you guys at solving puzzles / movies and movies? I did not see the killer in Thanksgiving coming. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore because I feel like there's a lot of people that are going to see it this week. But I will tell you, movie thing's going to be on here in December, so we can talk about this, and I won't forget because I think there was a really smart thing that they did that threw people off. But I'm not going to talk about that. So, but are you normally Del with plot twists or killers and things like that? Are you able to figure that out pretty early, or are you always surprised?
I like to be surprised. I think I want to say 50-50. And to be honest, if I figure it out early, I'm usually disappointed because I want
Yeah.
the writer to be smarter than me. I want the writer to fool me. And or if I figure it out early, but you're able to throw me off the scent. Like I figured out early, but then it's like, oh man, it might be this guy, it might be that guy. But then it comes back to that. If I've changed my mind, then I'm like, okay, that was cool.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw Five Nights at Freddy's, but I know that a lot of people knew who was the bad person in that or the villain. I didn't because I really knew nothing about Five Nights at Freddy's in general, and I don't want to really spoil that either. I feel like people have seen it though. Screw it. Are you going to see Five Nights at Freddy's? Have you seen it?
I saw it. I honestly, I know people are gonna hate me out there, but I couldn't stand that movie. But as far
That's
as
totally
figuring out who
fine.
the person was, you said neither did you.
No, I said just that's totally fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't like it. I'm not familiar with the game, and so if it's because I missed some lore or something like that, then so be it. But I didn't think they told the story very well. But as far as guessing who the bad person was, it was I figured it out before it happened, but not terribly long before it happened.
Yeah, and to me, that was really like the casting of Matthew Lillard. And I'm spoiling it for people. I think the movie's been out long enough.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like because again, I didn't know the games. Apparently, like that same character that gets him the job is also the killer in the games. But because I didn't know any of that, I thought like, oh well, this is nice. Matthew Lillard's doing a little cameo because we haven't seen him in so long. So the fact that we hadn't seen him in so long made me think he was barely in the movie and just kind of did like a little like, oh, it's a nice like reference to Scream that he's getting him the job and he's, that's so that I kind of liked that. That's what threw me off just because of the casting.
Right. But then it does what it does, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, so that's who it is.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it was cool. That twist, that part of it, I was like, yeah, like I said, I figured it out before it happened, but just not terribly long, so I was fine with that part of it.
I'm late to the stream, but did you see they're making a Karate Kid sequel with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan announced they're officially looking for the next Karate Kid to star? I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Is Cobra Kai not enough?
Right. That's true. They probably saw that and they're like, you know what? Let's cash in on this and let's make a third one. Or I guess it would be a
Yeah,
fourth one, right? Four. There's only yeah.
uh,
No, five.
fifth, I
Fifth.
think. I
Right. I'm
think
trying to think of the one with what's her name.
with
Was
Hilary
that
Swank.
yeah, Hilary Swank. That was the fourth
I
one.
think that was the fourth,
Fourth one.
or no,
Yeah.
or was that? Yeah, I think it was the fourth. And then of course you got to count if they're including Jackie Chan in this. I mean, that means that the one with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith is in the same universe.
Oh yeah.
So that's another one.
Yeah.
At least I would think that because Jackie Chan was in that one. No, I didn't hear that. And I'm. All right, do you like Cobra Kai? Are you a fan of it?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips and it looks great, and I know it has a huge fan base.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's cheesy, but it's fun. I actually don't like the way Ralph Macchio, his character, the way Daniel is portrayed in the show. Well, I not that I don't like it. I think he's more of a villain than as much of a villain as some of the other characters. This is really the redemption story of the bully from the first movie,
Okay.
and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Anybody in the chat? I know you guys know. Just throw it out there. And I really like him. It's a fun series. Just a little bit on the cheesy side.
No, yeah, I've heard really good things. I would like to ask you what you are looking forward to seeing that might be coming out the rest of this year, maybe next year, or maybe you've heard of something that's coming out. I'm going to put you on solo screen, and I will be right back, but I will still be able to hear you.
Sure, absolutely. So the big thing that I'm really looking forward to the rest of this year is probably The Color Purple, the musical. I'm a huge fan of the original movie that Steven Spielberg did with Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey and Danny Glover and all those guys. And it's a family favorite in my family. We all love that movie, and we know that it went to Broadway, so we're aware that it was a musical. If anybody out there was not aware, they didn't just randomly decide to make it a musical. It's been on Broadway for a long time now as a musical, and I'm really curious to see what they do with that movie and how they translate that to the big screen. I have not seen the play, so I don't really know what they all did with that. But as far as on the big screen, I'm really curious to see how it translates.
I love that answer because I keep telling people that because we were talking about trailers earlier. I think the trailer to The Color Purple looks phenomenal. Like it looks so good. I'm really, really excited to see it.
It does. It does. I'm like I said, I'm excited to see it. It's one of those where my wife and I kind of looked at each other and it's like, oh yeah, that's one we're definitely going to see. There's just no doubt about it.
Yes, and Coleman Domingo is having a really big year. He was in another film that just landed on Netflix called Rustin. He's in the Color Purple, and then there's a film that hasn't been released yet. It's going to be probably for the next year's award season, but it hit kind of the festival circuit a bit, and it's called Sing Sing, I believe, and everyone just kind of raved about that. And they said he's probably not going to get an Oscar win this year, but like if he's going to get one, like his performance in that movie that no one's seen yet, but they did in the festival said it was that was the one. But yeah, I'm really excited to see him in The Color Purple, and the whole cast is just fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't heard about Sing Sing, but Coleman Domingo is awesome. He's been great in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah.
And I mean, he just has this gravitas to him and that he brings to every role. And I'm really curious to see what he does in this film. I really liked him. One of the roles of his that not a lot of people talk about, at least I don't hear a lot of people talking about, is in Zola. Did you see Zola?
Mm-mm. No.
Zola. It's kind of a polarizing movie, but I really love this movie. It's based, and I do want to see Rustin. By the way, I just saw somebody else in the chat mention that. I do want to see that. I might watch that this weekend. But Zola is actually based on a Twitter thread, believe it or not. The whole it's a young lady. She was a stripper, and then she met another stripper who was actually a waitress at a restaurant that she went to, and then they got together and decided to go leave the city they were in. I forgot what city they were in, but to go down to Miami, uh, make some extra money. And when they get in the car, when our main character gets in the car to go with this other young lady, uh, Coleman Domingo is there, and he basically is winds up as the other girl's pimp, and we follow their adventures getting down to Miami in the next few days, basically the weekend. It's a crazy movie, and I really enjoyed that movie. I think it came out 2019 or 20 maybe.
As soon as you started describing it, I realized I knew exactly what you were talking about. I just haven't seen it, but I remember reading that Twitter thread and all of that. I think it's the name that throws me off, because the name, I think I don't remember that Zola, and I'm referring to, that event. But yeah,
Right,
that was
yeah.
wild.
It's a wild movie, yes. So I went back and read the Twitter thread after I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is how that worked. But they were pretty. They stuck to it as much as they could. I mean, you make a 2 hour movie off of a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
It takes some doing.
Yes, absolutely. We are getting a little bit closer to the end here, but we're not done yet. I know I asked you stuff you're excited to see. Is anything that you saw in this past year, 2023, that kind of stood out to you and something that you would recommend? Like, if let's say someone didn't see anything that came out in 2023, and you were like, "Oh, you should check this out," or it doesn't have to be just one if there are a few.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and spoil my top movie of the year for 2023 is Across the Spider Verse. That movie, even if you're not a Spider-Man fan, you've got to watch this movie because one, Miles Morales is an amazing character. He's a phenomenal character, and then the care they put into the artwork in this movie, and they use the artwork to help tell the story. One, there are so many different styles of art in the movie. There are lots and lots of styles. I think they say there's 7, but when you watch it, there's more than that even. Um, and they use it to tell the story about. I've already said that, but what I mean is, for instance, there's a scene where Gwen Stacy's character, if anybody doesn't know, she's the Spider Gwen, or the female Spider Man, Spider Woman from another universe. Early on, we see whenever she's on the screen, the color palette changes, and the color palette behind her is almost always in sync with her emotions. I mean, it's one color when she's sad, and then it turns another color when she's happy or surprised or upset. And they do that with her, and then other things happen with the other Spider folks, and we go to so many different places. It's just hard to take it all in the first viewing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really looking forward to watching it again. I just got it recently, and I'm definitely going to watch it again really soon, because just to see everything and see things I missed. Because even while I'm sitting in the theater watching it, it was like, oh, there's this and there's that, but there's so much on the screen. I know I'm missing things, and yep, it's 2.5 hours long. But at the end of that 2.5 hours, I was like, I could take 2.5 more hours of that. It was just that good as far as I'm concerned. For my horror fans out there, of course, everybody probably talks about this already, but
Yeah.
Talk to Me was a phenomenal horror movie. Um, it gets a lot of grief, and horror in general is getting a lot of grief now for the whole term elevated horror, and people dealing with grief a lot in horror. But I thought this did it exceptionally well.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and you also include what it does with addiction,
Yes.
and yeah, and the visuals that are there in the movie, and then that ending just kind of
Ugh,
punches you in the gut. And
yeah.
even if you figure it out, this is one of those endings where even if you figure it out, when it finally actually happens, though, it's still kind of like, oh, I didn't know they were really going to do it. I thought that's what they were going to do, but I didn't know they were really going to do it. And then you have to sit and think about the impact of that.
Yeah.
And that might not be the most pleasant thing to do, but that's one of the things that the movie does to you. Um, Another movie is if you want a smaller movie, if you don't want something quite so bombastic, a movie not a lot of people are talking about. One I saw on Netflix was They Cloned Tyrone. Have you seen this one?
That's on like the top of my list right now. I've heard nothing but incredible things.
Yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. And our main character is actually not even named Tyrone, but he's played by John Boyega, and he's a street level drug dealer. And some things go wrong, but then he finds out almost by accident that he's been cloned. And then we go through the rest of the movie trying to figure out what's going on. And
Wow.
there's also lots of social commentary dealing with that and who's being cloned and why they're being cloned. John Boyega does a phenomenal job. Jamie Foxx is also great in the movie. And forgive me, but I'm looking up the cast while I'm speaking because there is another performance. Yes, how could I forget her? Why would I do that? Tiona Paris, who's just in the Marvels, she was also in the movie and also does a really good job in that movie. So yeah, I would highly recommend They Clone Tyrone.
Yeah, I heard Tiona Paris is fantastic in that. Yeah, I'm definitely super excited to see it. I love the poster itself. Like, it was so well designed, and it definitely grabbed my eye immediately when they first launched it. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah. I hope you get to it sooner rather than later.
Yes, I'll make it. I'll make sure I watch it definitely before the end of the year. That's for sure. And I thought all the things you said about Across the Spider-Verse were just so spot on. And I really feel, and everyone can tell me I'm wrong when the time comes, but I really do think that it will be nominated for Best Picture. I think it has a huge shot at that. I know the competition's actually really strong this year, and sometimes animated films. I mean, it's difficult for an animated film to get nominated for that. But I think it is that good. Right. And I think that it is definitely up there, the best of the year, and definitely deserves the nomination for that. And I'm sure it'll win Best Animated. That would be kind of hard. There's been some great stuff this year, but I just think that's really top of the line,
Yeah, there has been some great movies this year and even great animated movies, but Spider-Verse, excuse me for a second, but sorry about that, but
that's okay.
Spider-Verse, I think, set itself apart artistically and storytelling wise. And I'm sorry about my voice all of a sudden.
No, that's okay. No rush.
But yeah, it set itself apart. Just the way it uses visuals to tell its story is just phenomenal. And you get a little bit of that even with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem. You get a little of that, and that's really good. But to do what Spider-Verse did and consistently keep your attention and hold it for that long and make you want more and get you so engrossed in the movie because of everything that's happening on the screen is just it's just next level. I do agree it deserves Best Picture nomination. And if it were up to me, it would probably win, but it's not up to me. So,
right. Well, I'm just gonna. I agree with you, and I actually did really like the Ninja Turtles film. And I think Ninja Turtles was definitely solid. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nominated for Best Animated Movie. But I still think that's it's like a baby crawling, where Across the Spider-Verse was just soaring through outer space. When it comes to that,
exactly,
and again, that's not a knock to Ninja Turtles. I think it's just like oranges and tomatoes. That's not or apples and oranges. Why did I say tomatoes? Sorry. Like rotten tomatoes.
And like I said, I really enjoyed Mutant Mayhem. It's just not quite on that level, and I enjoyed a lot of other animated movies this year, but they're just not quite on that level. And even live action movies, lots of them I enjoyed. None of them quite to that level. Even something a technical marvel like Oppenheimer is fantastic. What Barbie did was also great, and there's several other movies out there that were really really good. I just don't think that in a era where we have space for 10 nominees that you should leave off Across the Spider-Verse simply because it's animated.
I agree. I 100% agree. I'm going to just let's see here. I'm gonna just finish these up here. Let's see. Elemental was cool. I have not seen it. I will at some point though, because I try to catch every Pixar movie.
Same.
Yeah, oranges and tomatoes. Yeah. When you guys think animated film can win best overall best picture film, I think that's going to just be almost never, just because it has its own category. I think getting the nomination is enough. I mean, you can disagree, Del, but I just think just because it already has its own category as a separate thing, I just have a hard time seeing that happening.
Yeah, I'm with you. Unfortunately, it's one of those things I think is gonna happen at some point, but the groundswell during award season is gonna have to be so great for that movie, and I don't know, that people are gonna be like, most people are gonna be like we just said. It's like, you know what, they've got their own category already. Why do we need to give it Best Picture also? But I think it's one of those things that at some point is probably going to happen. So I won't say never, but it's not likely.
Right. And we're gonna close up, but I just want to address this. So the only thing that I can think of is that Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture, but I don't think it won.
No, it did not win. I don't think.
Sure. Yes. Okay. So it didn't win, but I think it was a huge deal back then, just because that was when there were only 5 nominations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
and I don't think there was there a Best Animated category back then, because that category hasn't been around forever.
You're right. I'm not sure. I mean, they even did Best Hair and Makeup for the first time in like 80 something because of American Werewolf in London. So,
Right.
That, but and this ties in with the conversation. Academy needs to add a category for Best Genre Film, Horror, Sci-Fi, Fantasy. If they could animation category, they need to add a Best Genre Film to give credit they deserve. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough too. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once isn't technically a genre film, but it's kind of a combination of genre films, and that won Best Picture. Right. So I don't know. That's tough. I get where you're coming from, though. Reloaded 17.
Yeah, I do get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dale, is there anything you have coming up on your channel that you would like to promote?
Nothing specific that's coming up in the next week or so, other than just putting out some videos with MCU ranking, because I did see the Marvels, and I'm still planning on doing a David Fincher ranking because I saw The Killer. Early on in December, though, I do have The Monkey coming on for a movie swap. We're going to do some holiday movies with The Monkey, and we're going to do more holiday movies later in December when I have Celeste De La Cabra on.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I saw The Killer. I definitely enjoyed it, so I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too.
Yeah. These deep film discussions warm the cockles of my heart. Great job to you both. Congratulations again, Del. Very well deserved.
Oh yeah, I do have one thing. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. Since we were talking about congratulating and celebrating 400 subscribers, I do have something tomorrow night. I'm going live at 8 Eastern for a 400 subscriber celebration, and I'm going to give away some digital codes and a steelbook and just have a great time.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing to forget.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot that.
Yeah, minor detail. Wonderful.
Yeah, so swing by for that if you're out there in the chat, and swing by if you have some time. If you're not subscribed, check me out and see if you like to. I always say that rather than just automatically subscribe, because I actually want you to like the channel.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Again, everyone, Dell's channel is in the description in the link, or the link is down below in the description. If it's not clickable, I'm going to adjust that, but you can also just copy and paste because that works too. Well, it doesn't work if it is not working. Thank you so much. You were a fantastic guest. It was a long time in the making. I'm so happy you were able to do this. And thank you so much. And thanks you to everyone in the chat. And anything else you want to say, Dell?
I'm just gonna say thank you, and yeah, so look for an invite from me early next year because I do want to get you on the movie swap. I had you on my channel once, but it wasn't a movie swap, so I want to get you on the movie swap.
Oh, that'll be so fun. That'll be really fun. You have to put me like give me the movies and then like a long time in advance, so I have like
Oh
tons
yeah,
of time to
sure,
watch them.
sure,
This
no problem.
is perfect. Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye guys.